Here is the finished fluid art blowout. Let's see how we got there. This is a project that I brought from Maine, and it's just not quite finished. It needs some more work. That violet there wasn't bright enough, so I need to try to figure out how to add the violet over what is already there without completely covering up the background. So I think what I'm going to do is put down some Floetrol and some paint and do it. That is a metallic purple that I got at Ollie's. And I'm going to mix that with water and Floetrol. And I thought I might lighten it up with some pink, but it turned out to have a few lumps in it, and it worked out. It's good. I tested it on paper towel and let it dry completely to make sure that it was going to be bright enough for me. And that, there it is, mixed. You can see the pink clumps, but I mixed the purple with the pink and Floetrol and water. So I'm going to attempt to blow that violet over that space. The original project was a blowout for the whole length of it, the black and white and silver. The background was all black, and then the rainbow colors. I just wasn't happy with the violet, so I'm going to try to go over that with the brighter violet and hope for the best. You can see some of the paints are different. That is Floetrol, which is an additive to paint that extends the life of it. It does add a little bit of gloss. You can see the blue there that is not glossy at all. But the Floetrol dries completely clear and it extends the life of the paint. So that's my plan with the violet, and I hope that is going to work. And then I'll move on to the metal leafing and see how that goes. Now I'm going to attempt what I talked about and add a brighter violet to this. I have sped up the tape because it goes a little slow and I don't want you to suffer that badly. I'm putting the Floetrol down so that there is a liquid base for the paint to blow around on, because when the other part was blown out, it was blown out on a liquid background. The black was liquid, and then I put the colors on top and blew that out. So here I am adding the violet on top of the Floetrol, and that is a heat gun or an embossing gun, and it gets the bubbles out. I'm using a regular blow dryer with an attachment on a cold setting, but I'm going to blow it on high because I want to move it around and make it wispy and like there's a lot of action going on. Like the other colors you can see are all wispy and blown around quite a bit. So I want to try to match the energy of the other colors. And I'm just putting the Floetrol over the paint and blowing more so that it's translucent in some areas, and like you can see in the other colors how it is. So I'm just trying to move it around and layer it and make it interesting so that it matches up with the rest of the piece. Okay, and that's it for now. Okay, so crafty people, on to the saga of this. The violet dried perfectly, so the technique that I used to do that was put the Floetrol down as a base for the paint to move, and the paint is also mixed with water and Floetrol, and I did get a great result there. I do have some lumps. I mentioned the lumps in the pink paint before, but that's okay. I'm gonna have to be happy with that. I will cover those with some more violet so no pink shows through, but it's a little lumpy. And I taped off and did the silver leafing here. I measured to find the middle. I have touched up a little bit with you can see the flat black paint there. But because the middle, actually, the black and the white needs to come over a little bit more to the center. It's barely in the center. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to black out some of this silver here and do the same with the white to blow it into, make it go over to the center more. And then it goes through the prism and then it comes out rainbow, obviously. So that, I thought I was going to be done today. The next step would be putting the epoxy over the top. But I'm not done. And then it's going to take 3 days for that to dry because that's what it takes. And if I have to do this again, or I recommend, when you're taping off to do your leafing, cover the entire canvas, because I have taken great pains to get the silver leafing off, but it is speckled all over the canvas in areas that it is not supposed to be. I have used rubbing alcohol, I have used soapy water trying to get it up, and most of it came up, but some of it will not move. So take precautions and understand that. Okay, so next step. See you next time. All right, well, I figured I was going to start doing this, but I thought you might like to see what's going on. I am about to do the white. I blacked out a little bit of that, and I'm going to try to put more white blowing over to like the half mark, the center, and that's the goal. So I'm speeding this up now because it was a 17-minute video, and basically I'm just doing the same thing, putting down the Floetrol and then the white paint. And it is white on white, but I was able to see a difference because the Floetrol was a little bit more translucent than the paint. And also, those bottles I was showing you were a fluid paint that I purchased and some plain old plastic squirt bottles. The cap from the plastic squirt bottles fit perfectly on the pre-mixed paint bottle, so that worked out fantastic. It had a better squirt than the original bottle. So here I am. I decided not to use the blow dryer here because I really needed to control it through those areas, and I needed to have a little bit more control with where it was going and what it was doing. And I didn't want to go over the silver, but I wanted to come right up to the silver so it was in the right position. And it was easier to do that with a straw than a big old blow dryer. So that's what I'm doing, and I kind of put the paint and the Floetrol in the darker areas, and that's what I'm doing. And after it would settle for a little while, if you look real close, you can see some of the white wispy lines of the paint. And I'm going in and adding more Floetrol or more paint where I think it is needed. After it dried, I did touch up a few areas, and I blacked out that top left area. It went a little too far. I wanted it to come down into the triangle. So anyhow, I will take a picture when it is absolutely dry. Have a great day.